Oh, wait. So the date is February 5th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are anywhere near the Northeast right now, especially if you're navigating the slushy sidewalks of New York City, you know what's happening.
Oh, yeah. The big thaw is beginning.
The thaw's on. That aggressive, low-hanging gray ceiling we've been living under for months.
It's finally lifting.
It's finally lifting. There's a shift in the light, a shift in the temperature. Mm-hmm. And if you're paying attention to the marquee lights on 44th and 45th Street...
Oh, there is a definite shift.
There is a distinct shift in the kinetic energy of the culture.
Totally.
We are standing, I think, on the precipice of what might be the most chaotic, exciting, and just absolutely packed spring season Broadway has seen in a decade.
It really feels unprecedented. I mean, we're looking at a calendar where the sheer density of openings in March and April is...
Yeah.
It's just staggering.
It's a lot.
Usually, you see a slow trickle of shows trying to beat the Tony Award cutoff.
Right, they space it out.
But this year it feels like a dam is broken.
It really does.
But it's not just the quantity of the shows that's making headlines. It's the specific flavor of this season that's so fascinating.
Exactly. And that is our mission for this deep dive. Mm-hmm. We aren't just going to read down a list of theater listings. I mean, you can get that anywhere.
For sure.
We're going to unpack this massive wave of musical theater that's about to hit the boards. We've pulled together, well, a whole stack of sources.
We have press releases, casting announcements.
Early buzz from the chat boards, cultural calendars, all of it, to figure out what is actually going on.
Right.
And if I had to put a label on it, I'd call this the season of the musical extravaganza.
That is a really fair assessment. I mean, if you look at the data we have, a pattern emerges immediately.
What's the pattern?
We are seeing a season defined by what, I guess, industry analysts might call intellectual property optimization.
Okay, that sounds very corporate.
It does. But what we might more charitably and maybe more accurately call radical reimagining.
Radical is the right word. It really is. We are not just talking about straightforward revivals here.
Yeah.
We're not talking about dusting off the old set designs and, putting a new star in the lead role.
Not at all.
We are talking about taking massive pop culture phenomena, 80s, cult movies, beloved TV shows, legendary divas.
And twisting them into something entirely new.
Yes. I mean, we have vampires.
We have Céline Dion.
And we have Jellicle cats walking a runway.
It's this incredible convergence of nostalgia and, I don't know, almost avant-garde reinterpretation.
It's a great way to put it.
You get the comfort of the known, right? Titles you recognize from your old DVD shelf or your Spotify Wrapped. But the execution is designed to completely surprise you. It's about taking a known quantity and asking, how can we make this an event?
That's the key word. Event.
Because, let's be honest, in 2026, with all the streaming options and entertainment you have at home...
You can't just put on a play anymore.
You can't. You have to create a destination. You have to create a spectacle that demands you be there in person.
So let's do it. Let's dive right into the deep end of that pool.
Let's.
If we're talking about radical reimagining, there is one show that is just sucking up all the oxygen in the room right now.
Sure.
It's the return of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats.
But...
And I cannot stress this enough, this is not your grandmother's Cats.
No, absolutely not. If you walk into the Broadhurst Theatre on West 44th Street expecting, yak hair wigs and spandex and literal junkyards...
Yeah, you're in for a shock.
You are going to be very, very confused. This is Cats. The Jellicle Ball.
That's the new title.
Previews start March 18th, 2026, with opening night set for April 7.
Okay, let's really unpack this concept, because if you haven't seen the buzz from when this premiered at the Perelman Performing Arts Center back in 2024, you might be scratching your head. The original Cats, I mean, the one that ran for 18 years, was about literal cats.
Correct. That was the Trevor Nunn visual language that, dominated the global perception of the show for decades, for sure. This production, which is directed by Zaylon Livingston and Bill Rauch, it throws all of that visual language out the window.
Gone.
It keeps the score, it keeps T.S. Eliot's poetry, but it transplants the entire narrative into the Harlem Ballroom scene.
Which is such a brilliant, brilliant pivot. For our listeners who might not be super familiar with ballroom culture, maybe they've seen Pose or the documentary Paris is Burning.
Right.
Can you kind of explain how this maps onto the story of Cats?
It fits surprisingly well. I mean, it's almost shockingly perfect.
Really?
In the original musical, the plot, and I use that term loosely,
it
revolves around the Jellicle choice. The cats gather once a year They introduce themselves through song, and one is chosen to be reborn.
To go to the heaviside layer.
Exactly. But in the original, it often felt a bit arbitrary.
A little bit, yeah.
But in this version, the Jellicle Ball is a literal ball, a competition.
Oh, okay.
The Jellicle choice is now a trophy.
So instead of cats just introducing themselves, they're walking categories.
Precisely. The characters are now competing in categories. You have categories for fashion, for dance, for realness.
Wow.
It contextualizes the loose review-style structure of the original musical in a way that actually makes narrative sense.
That is genius.
It turns the abstraction of the original into something tangible and competitive and fierce.
And the staging must reflect that. I heard the Broadhurst Theatre is being completely transformed.
It is. They aren't just building a set on the stage, they're changing the architecture of the room itself.
How so?
This goes back to that event nature we were talking about. They are selling runway seating.
Runway seating.
They have built a literal runway that extends out from the stage deep into the orchestra section.
Oh, that's cool.
And some audience members will be seated right there, inches from the performers. It immerses you in the energy of a real ball.
Love that.
And of course, the choreography has shifted entirely.
Right, so no more of the sort of lyrical ballet.
None. The original relied heavily on ballet and modern dance. This production replaces all of that with Vogue.
Okay.
You have duck walks, you have dips, you have floor performance, all the pillars of Vogue.
And it is important to note that this isn't just, Broadway choreographers trying to mimic a style they saw on YouTube.
No, the authenticity here is absolutely key.
It has to be.
The creative team includes choreographers Omari Wiles from the house of Nina Orici.
A legend.
And Arturo Lyons from the house of Miakmu Mugler. These are true legends in the ballroom community.
So they're bringing the real vocabulary.
They are bringing the real vocabulary, the real history of that world onto the Broadway stage.
And that integration of, Broadway veterans with actual ballroom legends extends to the cast, which is honestly one of the most exciting ensembles we have seen in years.
It's an incredible group of performers.
Let's just start at the top. Let's talk about Old Deuteronomy.
Okay. In the original, Old Deuteronomy is usually, a large operatic baritone in a big, shaggy fur coat.
The wise grandfatherly cat.
A sort of benevolent patriarch. Here, it is André De Shields.
The legend himself.
I mean, whoa.
A true Broadway deity. He's a Tony winner for Hadestown, but his career spans 5 decades.
He was the original Whiz and the Whiz.
He was an ain't misbehaving. Having him anchor this production as the elder statesman of the ball brings a level of gravitas and history that you just cannot manufacture.
Yeah.
When he walks onto that runway, the respect is real. It's earned.
And he's joined by Sidney James Harcourt as Rum Tum Tugger.
Great choice.
But the casting that really, really caught my eye, and I think is generating the most conversation.
I know where you're going with this.
It's Temptress Chastity Moore playing Grisabella.
This is a stroke of pure casting genius.
It is.
Chastity Moore is a transgender icon in the ballroom scene, a true legend. And if you think about the character of Grisabella.
The glamour cat.
Right, the one who has fallen on hard times, the outsider who's seeking acceptance and redemption.
The one who sings memory. The one who sings memory. Casting a trans woman from the ballroom community in that specific role adds a layer of poignancy and reality to that song that is just, it's really profound.
It completely changes the subtext of memory. It's not just about an old cat anymore.
No.
It's about survival. It's about community and chosen family and fighting for your place.
Exactly. And we shouldn't overlook another piece of casting here.
Who's that?
Junior LaBeija is playing Gus the theater cat.
Junior LaBeija?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
So if you have seen the documentary Paris is Burning, you know that voice. You know that presence.
He is a living bridge between the documented history of ballroom and this new theatrical interpretation. It validates the entire concept.
It does.
This isn't just a gimmick. It is a celebration of a specific vital subculture using the framework of a blockbuster musical.
And it is worth noting, you mentioned it played at PAC NYC in 2024. The critics went wild for it.
Oh, their reviews were ecstatic. I mean, the headlines were things like Paris is purring.
That's great.
It was a massive critical hit. It was on all the Best Theater of the Year lists, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, you name it.
So moving it to the Broadhurst, a big Broadway house, is a sign that producers believe this can scale.
They believe the broader audience is ready for something that really challenges the traditional aesthetic of a revival.
Okay, so on one side of 44th Street, you have this high art, radical reinvention of Cats. But if you walk just across the street to the St. James Theatre, you're going to find a completely different kind of reinvention.
A very different vibe, yeah.
You're going to find Titanic.
And St. James is a massive house. I mean, it's usually home to big, sweeping, serious epics like, Frozen or The Producers.
Exactly. And now, starting previews on March 26th, it's hosting what is essentially a musical parody of the 1997 James Cameron film Titanic.
Set entirely to the discography of Céline Dion.
This show has the ultimate Cinderella story. I remember hearing about this years and years ago. It didn't start on Broadway.
Not even close.
It didn't even start off-Broadway.
No, it has such a fascinating trajectory. It started as a concert in Los Angeles back in 2017.
Just a fun night out.
Just a fun night out for some friends. Then, and I absolutely love this detail, it moved to the basement of a grocery store in New York City.
A grocery store basement?
A Gristedes on 23rd Street, I believe. They built a tiny theater down there called the Asylum.
That's incredible.
And from there, it just kept building momentum. It had a smash off-Broadway run at the Darryl Roth Theater.
Sold out for months.
It went to London and won an Olivier Award for Best Comedy. And now, finally, it's docking on the main stem.
So the premise is just, it's delightful chaos.
It is.
It's the story of the movie Titanic. But Céline Dion, played by an actress, of course.
Of course.
She hijacks a Titanic museum tour to explain what really happened to Jack and Rose.
And because it's a jukebox musical, she uses her own songs to tell the story.
My Heart Will Go On, obviously.
All by myself, tell him I drove all night. It just takes the melodrama of her songs and the melodrama of the movie and smashes them together into comedy gold.
But what's really fascinating here is the casting strategy for the Broadway transfer.
Okay, yes.
They have gone for some really surprising, high-profile names.
Surprising is putting it mildly. The casting announcement for this actually made me laugh out loud in the best way.
Me too.
First off, the good news. Marla Mandel is back.
Thank goodness. She is the co-creator and the original Celine. Yep. She practically invented this specific caricature of the diva.
It's chaotic, it's narcissistic, and it is unbelievably funny.
It's good they kept her at the center. She's the engine of the show.
For sure. And Constantine Rizzulli is back as Jack. But then, okay, let's talk about who is playing Ruth.
Yes, Rose's mother.
The uptight society woman.
That role is being played by Jim Parsons.
Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory.
Wait, so Jim Parsons in a dress?
Yes, in a dress. In a giant hat. It's this brilliant piece of stunt casting that actually makes perfect sense within the camp aesthetic of the show.
Right.
And Parsons has serious stage chops. He's done The Boys in the Band, Mother play, Harvey.
He's a great stage actor.
But seeing him in drag as this icy Edwardian mother figure...
Yeah, it's going to sell so many tickets.
It sells tickets, and it signals to the audience right away that this show is not taking itself seriously at all.
And it doesn't stop there. The rest of the cast is wild, too. We have Deborah Cox,
R&B legend,
playing the unsinkable Molly Brown.
And here's a fun little meta layer for you.
Okay.
She used to be a backup singer for the actual Céline Dion.
No way. That's amazing.
So there's another layer there, too.
And Frankie Grande is returning as Victor Garber,
who played the ship's builder in the movie, of course. The layers of reference here are just so dense.
He really is.
It's a show for people who love the movie, who love Céline, and who love to laugh at how ridiculous both of them can be.
So we've got the Ballroom Cats, we've got the Camp Titanic. But if you want to get that party going, we have to talk about the cult classics section of the spring preview.
Okay, yes.
Because two massive titles from the 70s and 80s are landing, and they are landing hard.
This brings us to the Rocky Horror Show and the Lost Boys. Let's start with Rocky Horror.
We have to.
Because the venue choice here is almost as important as the show itself.
It is hard to imagine a more perfect marriage of show and venue than this one.
Where is it?
The Rocky Horror Show is going into Studio 54.
It's the ideal location. It's perfect.
It is.
Studio 54 isn't just a theater, it's a legend. It has that history of decadence, of celebrity, of the underground bleeding into the mainstream in the 70s.
Totally.
So for a show about a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania,
a show that celebrates sexual fluidity and counterculture,
you could not ask for a better atmospheric fit. It's built in.
Previews start March 26th, opening April 23rd. And the vibe they are promising is, and I quote, a guaranteed party.
I believe it.
But what really stands out to me is the cast. It feels like Hollywood meets Broadway in a very specific, curated way.
It's a really eclectic mix. It's fascinating. You have Luke Evans
making his Broadway debut
as Dr. Frankenfurter.
Luke Evans, Most people know him as the action star, right?
Right, Gaston from the live-action Beauty and the Beast.
Or Bard the Bowman in the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
He has that movie star charisma, but I think people forget he can really, really sing.
He started in the West End in London. He did Rent. He did Miss Saigon. He has the vocal training to handle the role.
For sure.
But he also has that, intense masculinity that when you flip it for Frankenfurter creates a really interesting dynamic.
It really does. But look at who's around him. Rachel Dratch as the narrator.
Which is just hilarious. The narrator is supposed to be this dry, boring criminologist.
And Rachel Dratch is going to bring that specific SNL weirdness to it.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you have Stephanie Sue as Janet,
who is incredible in Everything Everywhere All at Once, but she's also a Broadway vet from Be More Chill and SpongeBob.
Right? She can do it all.
And Juliette Lewis as Magenta.
Juliette Lewis. I mean, the chaos energy she brings is going to be perfect for that role.
It's so good. And Michaela J. Rodriguez as Columbia.
It's just, it's a cast that feels curated to generate buzz and appeal to very different demographics.
Totally. You've got the Marvel fans for Luke Evans, the comedy nerds for Rachel Dratch, the indie film lovers for Juliette Lewis.
It's a smart move. And it's being directed by Sam Pinkleton,
who just had that massive hit with Oh, Mary.
Right.
He knows how to handle camp and subversive humor. He knows how to make a show feel like a party that might go off the rails at any moment.
In a good way.
In the best way.
Now, moving from the 70s cult classic to the 80s cult classic.
Okay.
The Lost Boys.
This is the one that has industry insiders really, really curious.
I've heard that.
It's opening at the Palace Theatre, a beautiful, historic, traditional vaudeville house. Previews start March 27th. Opening is April 26th.
Based on the 1987 vampire movie, Santa Carla, The Boardwalk.
One thing about Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.
That's the one. Now, we do have to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Or maybe the bat in the room.
Oh, yeah. We do. Broadway has a vampire curse.
It really does. I was looking at the history. Elton John's Lestat.
A huge flaw.
Dance of the Vampires.
Legendary disaster.
Frank Wildhorn's Dracula.
Closed very quickly. Why do vampires have such a hard time on Broadway? It's a really tricky tone to nail. On stage, vampires can so easily veer from sexy and dangerous to just silly and melodramatic.
Right.
If the audience starts laughing at the fangs instead of with them, you are dead in the water.
But there is a feeling out there that the Lost Boys might be the one to finally break the streak.
There is. There's a lot of buzz.
Why is that? What makes this one different?
Well, it's had a lot of development buzz. The music is by the band The Rescues, which gives it a totally different sonic palette.
How so?
It's more indie rock, folk pop, a bit more atmospheric, and less of the gothic bombast of previous vampire shows.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the creative team is really strong. Michael Arden is directing.
Who did that recent revival of Parade, which was just stunning. He knows how to handle dark themes with real intelligence.
Exactly, and the cast is fantastic. Shoshana Bean is playing the mother, Lucy Emerson.
She stepped in to replace Casey Levy.
She did, and Shoshana Bean is a vocal powerhouse. I mean, she's famous for her riffing, her control.
Sure.
Having her anchor the emotional side of the story, the mother trying to protect her sons in this dangerous new town, it gives the show a really strong center.
And for the brothers, we have L.J. Benet and Benjamin Pajak, and Ollie Louis Bursky as David, the head vampire.
Ollie Louis Bursky was incredible in The Who's Tommy recently.
Yeah.
He has that rock star edge that you absolutely need for the Kiefer Sutherland role.
He does.
If he can sell the seduction of that vampire lifestyle, if he can make it seem cool before it's scary, the whole show works.
So you have the vampires at the palace, but maybe you aren't looking for vampires or drag queens. Maybe you just want a good cry.
Then you are going to want to head to the Majestic Theatre.
The Majestic. For 35 years, that was the home of the Phantom of the Opera.
An institution.
The chandelier crashed there thousands and thousands of times. It is hallowed ground in the Broadway community.
It really is.
But now, the Phantom is gone. And in his place, we have beaches.
Talk about a tonal shift. Wow.
From gothic romance and candelabras to a straight-up tearjerker about female friendship.
This is, of course, the musical adaptation of the Iris Rainer Dart novel and the famous Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey movie.
Previews start March 27, opening April 22. And the headline here is just, grab the tissues.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the story of a 30-year friendship between C. Bloom and Bertie White.
A story about connection, rivalry, ambition, and ultimately loss.
And the casting here relies so heavily on the chemistry between the two leads.
It has to.
You need two women who can really sell that lifelong, complicated bond.
And they seem to have found them. Jessica Vosk is playing Cece, the Bette Midler role.
And Kelly Barrett is playing Birdie.
Jessica Vosk is a phenomenon. She was Elphaba in Wicked for a long run. She has this incredible belt, but she's also naturally very funny.
Which you need for Cece.
You need that brashness.
Yeah.
And Kelly Barrett is just wonderful. But what's cool is that they aren't just meeting for the first time in the rehearsal room.
That's right. They actually starred in this production together at Theatre Calgary back in 2024.
That is a huge advantage, a massive advantage.
It is. They've already had time to build that rapport, to refine the rhythms of the relationship. Developing a new musical is so hard.
So hard.
Bringing it in with a lead duo that is already locked in is just a very smart move.
And musically, we have an absolute legend involved. The score is by Mike Stoller.
Mike Stoll of Leiber and Stoller. I mean, Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, Stand By Me.
The man is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He's in his 90s, and he is still writing for Broadway. That is just remarkable.
It is. It suggests the music will have a classic melodic structure, maybe leaning into that mid-century pop sound.
And yes, for anyone wondering, the show does include Wind Beneath My Wings.
It would have to. There would be a riot at the Majestic if it didn't.
I think there would be. It's one of the most famous ballads of the 20th century.
Okay, we have covered the ballroom, the parody, the cult hits, and the tearjerker.
That's a lot.
But there's one more show that is taking a very different route to the stage. It's making the jump from streaming to screaming applause.
I'll allow it.
That was a bad transition. I apologize. I'm talking about Schmigadoon.
It works. Schmigadoon is opening at the Nederlander Theatre. Previews are April 4, opening April 20.
This is such an interesting case of meta-narrative layers.
It really is. It started as an Apple TV Plus series about a modern couple who get trapped in a magical town that is essentially a living, breathing, golden age musical.
Right. So on TV, you had a show that was parodying The Music Man, Oklahoma, Brigadoon.
All the classics.
And now, that parody of musicals is becoming an actual stage musical.
It's the snake eating its own tail, but in a really fun way.
It is. The creative team is led by Cinco Paul, who created the series and wrote all the songs.
So the voice should remain very consistent.
Which is key. And the casting is just pure Broadway joy. On TV, you had Keegan-Michael Key and Cecily Strong.
Who were great.
On stage, we have Alex Brightman playing Josh.
Alex Brightman, Beetlejuice himself.
The man is a master of physical comedy and high energy. He is perfect for the role of the skeptic who hates musicals.
He's so good. And Sarah Chase is playing Melissa. It's directed by Christopher Gattelli,
who's a brilliant choreographer at heart. He did Newsies.
So we can expect big, athletic, classic Broadway dance numbers.
It's just funny to think about a show that makes fun of the tropes of musical theater being performed for a Broadway audience.
Who knows those tropes better than anyone on the planet?
Exactly.
So that's the aha moment for this one. It's an inside joke that the entire audience is in on. When the characters start singing a song about corn puddin', the audience immediately understands the reference to Oklahoma's The Farmer and the Cowman. It creates this great communal feeling of, we get this.
Now, we've talked about the shows, but we can't look at this season in a vacuum, right?
Absolutely not.
These shows are opening in New York City in the spring of 2026. And the context of what else is happening in the culture is really important.
Broadway doesn't exist in a bubble. It's part of the larger cultural ecosystem of the city. And spring 2026 is shaping up to be very loud and very visual.
For one thing, we have the Met Gala coming up in May, and the theme is costume art.
Which ties in perfectly with the theatricality we're seeing on stage.
It really does. Co-chairs include Beyoncé. It's her first time back in a decade.
Wow.
And Zoe Kravitz. It just puts this huge spotlight on fashion and performance, which circles right back to Cats, the Jellicle Ball, and that focus on the runway.
It all connects. And on the concert front, you've got Lady Gaga launching the Mayhem Ball tour.
Hitting arenas. And apparently, there are jump scares included.
Jump scares at a Lady Gaga concert.
I am intrigued and terrified.
As you should be.
And then looking a bit further out, but it's still affecting the city's infrastructure now.
Right.
We have AC/DC coming to MetLife Stadium in September for their Power Up Tour.
And speaking of MetLife, you can't ignore the preparations for the 2026 World Cup.
Huge.
New York and New Jersey are hosting the final, and there are massive upgrades happening. What was it, like $67.5 million secured for the stadium?
The city is just gearing up for a massive global influx.
It feels like everything is scaling up. The concerts are massive arena shows, the sports are global, and Broadway is responding in kind.
With the Musical Extravaganza.
It is a season of event theater. You aren't just buying a ticket to a play anymore, you are buying a ticket to a party at Studio 54.
Or a ball at the Broadhurst.
Or a Céline Dion concert at the St. James.
So as we wrap up this preview, let's look at the calendar one more time. March 26th and March 27th. You should circle those dates.
That is the super cycle. That's the crunch. Almost everything we discussed begins previews in that 48-hour window.
Titanic, Rocky Horror, Beaches, The Lost Boys.
It is going to be a frantic, exhausting, but exhilarating time for the press and for theater goers.
So if you're a listener trying to plan your trip, you really just have to pick your vibe.
That's it. You pick your poison. If you want a party, you go to Rocky Horror.
If you want a good cry, you go to Beaches.
If you want to laugh until your face hurts, you've got Titanique or Schmigadoon.
And if you want the cool factor, something a little more edgy and artistic, you get a Cats or The Lost Boys.
There really is something for everyone, provided you like your entertainment big and bold.
And maybe that's the final takeaway here. We see a lot of skepticism about IP on Broadway right now.
Oh, all the time. Movies becoming musicals.
But this season suggests that it isn't about what the source material is, but how you transform it.
Exactly. Is it just nostalgia, or is it true reinvention?
Yeah.
With so many shows based on movies, TV, and existing music, we might be tempted to call this the golden age of nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at what they're doing with Cats. Taking something everyone thought they knew and turning it into this incredible commentary on gender, race, and belonging through ballroom culture.
It proves something important.
It really does.
What's that?
That old dogs, or in this case, old cats, can actually teach us some pretty amazing new tricks.
I love that. A perfect place to end. Get your tickets, folks. It is going to be a wild spring.
Indeed.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you at the theater.